We're going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner.
Man, I'm confident in our offense, that's for sure.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Barron. Make sure to like and subscribe out there on YouTube and rate the show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. We continue to raise money for the St. Jude's Children's Hospital and donate a portion of what we make over to them. And we continue our giveaway for the Darnell Wright jersey. Just rate the show 5 stars. Link down in the description out on Apple Podcasts. And you can enter to win a Darnell Wright jersey. When we get 58 5-star reviews out there on Apple Podcasts, we'll then announce the winner live on the show. But PayPal, this is the longest that we've gone without doing a show. How you been? I know you were out on the beach out in Apostle Islands. Looked insane. But how are you, my friend?
Yeah, that was quite the vacation. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was also
I got pictures. I got pictures for everybody out there so they can see what the Apostle Islands look like. Like, this is in Wisconsin. Like, this is For those listening, look it up. It's insane.
Yeah, had a little spa day and everything there. It was great. Did some yoga, it was really cool. Had so much fresh fish. Did a little kayaking tour. It was a really great time and perfect weather. I mean, it was 90s in Wisconsin, but it also had like the cold, wind from Lake Superior. So definitely recommend anyone to go up there. But also, it was a lot of fantasy football drafts this weekend, so that was also fun. I mean, we had our family one, so that's always a fun one because a lot of fantasy football drafts can get kind of competitive or it's intense. But like our family one is very
laid
lighthearted. Yeah, it's very laid back. Like our mom drafts she always drafts like Tom Brady first round. She drafted Jimmy Garoppolo first round, and then she drafted 2 kickers. She drafted Cody Parkey and Robbie Gould.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just fun to kind of like do stuff like that. And then I think about too. Yeah, I did a Bears draft where a bunch of different podcasts. We all drafted Bears podcast, fantasy football podcast, and literally for that one, PayPal, I did the PFF mock draft, like the live mock draft suggestions, and it had me drafting 2 quarterbacks early. I'm like, this is terrible. And people are like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I can't say. But the crappy part about it, because I'm like, I'll just do this, right? And the crappy part is I did what they told me to, and they gave me a C at the end of it. So
that's funny.
It's a cool tool, but yeah, do not listen to everything it did. It was an experiment kind of gone wrong. And of course, I have Travis Kelce. So yeah, a little bit panicked right now when it comes down to the fantasy football realm. But PayPal, we got a jam-packed show. We have some news to cover since we haven't had a show in a little over a week. We will be back on our normal schedule. So tomorrow on Thursday, we will be breaking down the Green Bay Packers versus the Bears. But today, we are breaking down some news, also record predictions. We have not given our official record predictions yet. And then my favorite part, the award predictions, where we talk about who we are going to give awards out. We're predicting who we're going to do that to by the end of the year. It's one of my favorite segments, so make sure to stay tuned. So PayPal, we got some news, big news. The number changes. Numbers make you faster. And that's what Roschon Johnson believed. Roschon Johnson changed from 30 to 23, Gervon Dexter 98 to 99, and Elijah Hicks 37 to 22. Personally, I'm loving the Gervon Dexter to 98, 99. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, 99, it's like, there's no 98 players. Maybe I'm blanking. 98, you don't really pop out. When you got 99, I think of like Daniil Hunter. I think of this, physical player that can get to the ball. 99 it brings your overall, if we're talking like Madden, it brings your overall up like 10 points just from that simple number change. So I think he's going to be, it's a mood swing for Gervon too. Like he's got to play with that 99 on his
Yeah,
back.
he's got to play better. I think that switching to 99, now he's going to get 2 more sacks. And Roshan Johnson, I think he just shaved off like a half a second off of his 40 time by switching to 23. I think that's the
Oh
only
yeah.
yeah, numbers impact everything.
Yeah.
What's funny is they will actually probably look cooler, like all seriousness, just because of the numbers. But I'm glad that they got the numbers that they want, and hopefully you did not buy one of their jerseys before they switched it over to PayPal. A little bit more news as well. So the injury report, we got our first injury report, and we'll break it down a little bit more tomorrow when we start previewing the Packers. But Jaquan Brisker limited on Wednesday. Dylan Cole didn't participate. Again, I thought he was healthy, but I guess he's not. Did not participate with a hamstring. Eddie Jackson limited with an ankle. DeMarcus Walker limited with the calf. PayPal, anything jump out to you as the resident medical expert on the on the show?
Yeah, nothing honestly jumps up too much. Like I think I would be worried if it was like roster moves are always like I think a big tell of how serious an injury is.
Good point.
Like, you could see with Tevin Jenkins, like we were like, okay, like is it really that serious that we need another interior offensive lineman? And it's like, oh, here comes Dan Feeney. Yes, that means it's a big deal. It's like, all right, and we see him move to IR. So I think from the way that our roster has changed and shifted, I mean, Dylan Cole, it seems like it was the same injury that he's always kind of had. So I don't think we would have kept him on the roster if we didn't think he was going to be ready for the season. I think that'd
Yeah.
be kind of ridiculous if that's going to be the case scenario. But I'm not too worried about it. Yes, they just signed Quindell Johnson, so maybe Brisker. I don't know. Like, is he going to be ready? I guess that's the one I'm kind of worried about.
Yeah.
When that kind of happened, but besides that, I'm not worried about the other guys.
Yeah, I agree with you on Jaquan Brisker because Brisker, to me, being limited, I think about what roles everybody plays. Eddie Jackson is more of a free safety. He excels at the free safety role. Elijah Hicks is really the backup that we've talked about that would go in if Brisker's not out there. Elijah Hicks pretty much played exclusively free safety last season. So without Brisker, who plays more of that strong safety in the box role, do they move Eddie Jackson down? Now, yes, we play a lot of too high, but still, you need a box safety, and Jaquan Brisker plays a lot of box safety. That's the only thing that I'm a little bit nervous about. And obviously, you want to have the safeties out there, especially with Christian Watson. The guy is fast. You need safeties to make sure that they can bring him down. So definitely something to monitor. Hopefully tomorrow, hopefully they're at least limited or full participants next tomorrow's, just so that we at least know what we can expect out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, let's flip over to the record predictions. We have not talked about record predictions, except right when everything rolls out. We always like to predict and say what we feel right when the record or the schedule releases. And PayPal, I remember yours because I was a little shocked by it. You had the Bears as a playoff team. I think it was like 10 wins or so. Right when the schedule released, you had 10 wins. Are you still kind of feeling that? And also for those watching, let us know, how many wins do you think that the Bears are going to get next season?
Yeah, I think I was around the same as Adam Rank, which I think Adam Rank had like 12-5 or 11-6, where I'm honestly kind of staying by my word. Like I think this team, I don't know if a 12-5, like that's really optimistic. Heck, that would be such a switch of having the worst record in the NFL to going to, if you're 12-5, you're probably top 5 record in the NFL. You're floating around like the elite teams
Yeah.
when you kind of have that. So I kind of like saying that we will reach 10-7. I really think this team, looking at the schedule, like, yeah, there's some tough matchups, but like honestly, in the division, I could not see us losing against a division matchup twice. Like I think
Really?
we
Even
actually
Detroit?
even Detroit, I think we kind of have we're even or more even match than how it was last year, where it's like, okay, like we know we want to win, but it's not really an even match. Like we'll give a fighting chance, but I think this team now, like we're ready to actually win these ball games that were close. Minnesota seems like a team that we definitely can beat in the past. And I think people say they have a high powered offense, but their defense is kind of lacking. So I think we're kind of that's kind of gonna get our advantage to get to like a 10-7 is our division matchups. We're not gonna be losing against the Packers twice. We're not gonna be losing against the Lions twice like last year.
Yeah, I hope you're right with it. I'll tell you mine. I still am kind of around that 8 wins. And the reason why is when I look at this team, when I look at it on paper, right? When I see this team, it strikes me as a solid team and a good team, right? When you compare it to everyone else, this is a solid team. And I think when you look at this overall schedule, you could walk away with 2 wins: Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Kansas City. I don't think that Tampa Bay is going to be that good. And Green Bay, I think that this is the Bears Super Bowl. But at the same time, we see that a lot of times people that come off of a big Super Bowl win, so to speak, it's hard for them to kind of bounce back to the next spot. I think a
Mhm.
lot of these, I am expecting them to probably go 3-3 in the first 6 games. And then the next one, I could see them kind of going 3-3 again. You're talking about Las Vegas, not a great team, but still can really put up some numbers from an offensive perspective. And Chargers in New Orleans should be decent. Carolina shouldn't be that good. Minnesota defense should be bad, right? Detroit, I do
Yeah.
think that they're going to be contenders. And at the very end, you got Arizona, you got Atlanta. I think those are 2 bad teams. And Detroit, Cleveland, and Green Bay, I think will be solid teams. I think the storyline that's going to be huge going into this season is how well can this team be coached? Because there's there's a lot of other solid teams on this schedule that we have. Atlanta, they're always going to put up a fight. Las Vegas, can we beat those okay teams? And I think it's going to come down to the coaching staff to really get the most out of these players, get the most out of Justin Fields, and really, I think that's going to be what moves this team to either. I think that this team could go from 6 to 10, right? Because
Yeah.
because if the coaching staff isn't doing too good, this could be a 6-win team. As
Yeah.
crazy as that sounds, if the coaching's not there, that's where I really do think that kind of that 8 wins. And I think Vegas now has them at 8.5. So I
Mhm.
totally get the reasons why that 8 wins, 7 wins, 9, I think that they're going to be splitting a lot of games.
Yeah, I really think yeah, I agree with that, and it's gonna be kind of back and forth of like, oh, great win, great, and then maybe another great win, and then it's 2 losses. Um, but yeah, I could definitely see them pick up some tread because it's just last year. It's hard to be with how bad of a team we had last year, especially offensively, like how much ground we almost made. Like, sure, we lost a lot of games, but it's like we were still in games with having nothing. Like
Yeah.
we had no linebackers except for Jack Sanborn, who like played the last half of the season. We had no pass rush. Our secondary was still, it was good. We had the same safeties. We added at safety. We added, our whole offense. We actually have weapons now for Justin Fields, which last year we had nothing. So that's where it's like we added so much. That's where I'm like that 10 wins seems almost more gettable because it's like heck, we have so like a heck of a lot more talent on this team because I think honestly the coaching the main coaching thing for me is like if we get a touchdown, like keep it rolling because it seemed like our team was able to start hot. Like when I mean start hot, like the first possession
Yeah.
and then it was like then we didn't see anything till the last half, the last fourth quarter of the game.
Yeah, and also Broski out there has him at about 7 wins. 7 wins. My goal for Bears are 8 to 9 wins. I agree with him there. I think that'll be interesting because, like you, PayPal, I hope you're correct with 10, right? That's a little rich for my blood, but that's why they play. And I think, too, there's so much that can happen, right? We all know that the game can just come down to a touchdown, come down to a field goal. But PayPal, to your point about this team getting better, Max Markham on Twitter posted this out, and I had to look this up because you reminded me of this. He had like a where are they now Bears starters. Nicholas Morrow, who started 17 games, is on the Eagles practice squad. Sam Mustipher started 16 games, Ravens practice squad. Al-Qadim Muhammad, another starter, Colts practice squad. Joe Thomas, 9 starts for the Bears. He's a free agent. Schofield started 4 games for us, free agent. Robert Quinn, 7 starts, free agent. DHC, free agent. Mike Pennell, free agent. Like, the list goes on and on and on. We're just like halfway through. This happened a lot. The Bears just, like you said, did not have the talent in place. Travis Gibson, Angelo Blackson, Matt Adams, Byron Pringle, Armon Watts, Riley Reif. All those players are either second string, third strings, free agents, and these were all starters for us the season before. And yeah, it could definitely flip one way or the other. That's why I can't wait to see. Oh yeah, and Broski reminded me, Robert Quinn, jail time.
Yeah, I think right. That's another reason why he's in there. And honestly, it's kind of like what makes me a lot more. This season isn't everything, it's still like you want to see that progress, and we will see the progress. But yeah, it's like I think we still haven't finished this development of this team. Like, this is that second step. We did the first step last year of kind of trying out all these guys, kind of cutting all the previous regimes guys and testing them out. And then this year is kind of, all right, this seems like the first really year of like, all right, now we have a football team that's solid to kind of contend and not just look like crap.
Yeah, I agree. So PayPal, I think it's time for us to go through the awards. This is the spot that we're excited for. We break this down. If you're new to the show, what we do every year at the very end is we give out awards. We do Most Improved Player, Rookie of the Year, Brent Urban, Cody Parkey Award, Offensive MVP, Defensive MVP, and our favorite player. So what we're doing now is we are giving our predictions for who we think we're going to give these awards out to at the end of the year, and we'll see how accurate we are with some of these predictions overall. So PayPal, it's time to start with the first award. And also, you can play along at home. So the first award, Most Improved Player. So I'm curious out there, what's everyone's prediction for the Most Improved Player for the 2023 season?
Yeah, I mean, with all these, Brad, I have I have a honorable mention for all of these, so I can say that after we do our pick. But for me, Brad, I think most improved, and I think we already have kind of seen that he has improved because he looks like an absolute dog now. That's Kyler Gordon. That's Spider-Man. Like, he already looks the part, and he looks like a completely different player. He has the confidence. He's got the swag. He's got the celebration. I think honestly, like, if we're talking, he's going to be so improved. Like, I think he's getting to the point where he's one of the biggest difference makers on this defense. He's going to be creating a lot of turnovers with hitting people like he has done this preseason, but also just contesting and doing his Spider-Man catches to get interceptions.
Ooh, and and so I'm seeing out here. So we got, first off, SDC saying Broski, he's going 13 wins. He says finally got an offense. I like that. I'm more than fine with us going 13. I hope SDC is correct and all of us are wrong because that's the highest win. Whoever has the highest win total as the prediction, I'm going with them. I'm riding with them. But let's see. Donald's got Gordon is the MIP. Torrance saying Justin Fields. Bears Bones is saying Fields. Broski's going Jalen. I'm going Kyler Gordon as well. So PayPal, I would love to like disagree with you, but I do think that Kyler Gordon is going to be that. Someone else that people haven't really mentioned, I'm curious about Jaquan Brisker. I think Brisker could be somebody that's there. And also, yeah, Bears Junkies saying Chase Claypool too. That's a good one because he didn't do anything last season. Is there anyone else that was on your honorable mention?
Yeah. My honorable mention was kind of Justin Fields. I honestly, for this list, I try not to have Justin Fields because it's like he could be, he could be like the most improved, like he could be everything for me, favorite player, like all that, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like I try to step away from that because it's like Justin Fields is like, yeah, he could just fill all those categories. Even if we had a special teams award, I mean, heck, we saw him catching those punts, at practice. So he could be in the special teams award too.
I like it. I like it. So let's go to our next award. Actually, I'm trying to think of if there's anyone else for most improved. Braxton Jones, I think, could even potentially be a nomination.
I got a good, honestly, Justin Jones. That's someone
that's really good. That's a really good one.
Be good because he actually with
really
some
good
help, I feel like he can actually disrupt plays because he was disrupting plays last year, but heck, he was getting double teamed because the only two guys on the team that could remotely get to the QB was Travis Gibson and Justin Jones. So Justin Jones, look for him to have a big year because, yeah, he has some help now.
I like that. I don't know if Khalil Herbert would constitute as that also, where it's like, but I think Justin Jones, that's a really good call.
Oh, Broski Bear backup by maybe that's a call out to how good Javon Dexter and Zach Pickens is going to be. Yeah, he said that Broski Bear says that Justin Jones will be a backup by week 9. So that hopefully that means just Javon Dexter's a dog out there, or for you, Brad, Zach Pickens.
Yeah, and Don's saying if Fields is MIP, the Bears win division and playoff games. I hope it is actually Justin Fields for real, because I think he's going to be better, and if he takes that leap and if he's able to own that, I do agree with Don out there where I do think then they start taking some playoff games. But let's go to the next award. The next award is, wait for it. Hey, the Rookie of the Year award. So obviously this is a simple award. It goes out to the rookie that performed the best from the 2023 draft class, could be undrafted as well. We said that last year because of Jack Sanborn. But PayPal, I'll start with this. I think that we have a very good rookie class. I think that I think it's going to be difficult because there's a lot of potential good players. But when I think about Rookie of the Year, right? The Bears Rookie of the Year, I think about making big plays. I think about turning heads. I think about somebody who I think could get 5 interceptions this year. And that's Tyreek Stevenson. Tyreek Stevenson, I have as Rookie of the Year as my prediction because I think, yes, he's going to miss some plays. I think he's going to take his lumps as a rookie corner, but I do think he's going to put up the stats like we saw in preseason. He should have had 3 interceptions. I think we're going to see that continue to the regular season. Him being the rookie, I think he'll be picked on. I think people will throw him the ball, and I think he's going to make a handful of plays and ultimately come down and, probably bold take. I think I won't say could. I think he will lead the team, maybe tied with Eddie Jackson with interceptions. I think he takes Rookie of the Year.
I love that, Brad, because literally, I really agree with that one because he definitely, we can see his turnover ability, this preseason, that he's always in position for it. And heck, he's a great tackler. I could see him stripping a few balls this year as well because he's got those long arms, super easy to punch him out. So I was kind of thinking Tyreek Stevenson, Brad, but one of the guys, and you said it's hard because this rookie class is good. And Darnell Wright, I think, is going to be, honestly, kind of a standout. I think he's going to look phenomenal. Like, you see how big he is. And I think Justin Fields, first of all, will notice, but then we will also notice on the TV of, like, we will have so much protection. He will the pocket will just be so clean, and he will not have to just throw the ball every 2 seconds or try to escape the pocket. So my rookie of the year is Darnell Wright, and I think it's because he's also our first round draft pick. He's first round draft pick for a reason, because he's gonna make the biggest difference on this team. Um,
I-
but Brad, there's so many honorable mentions that we could say too.
Yeah, I think also the chat, we're seeing Darnell Wright. We're seeing Tyreek Stevenson. And I think that's the big thing, because I know that the defensive tackles could do their thing, but it seems like Stevenson could make the big plays, and Darnell Wright was right there with me as like number 2. Like those were the 2 big people, but I'm like, Stevenson could. I think Stevenson could make the plays. I see that, but yeah, I think it's either one of those 2. No offense to our defensive tackles. I just feel like they need another year. Defensive tackle, it takes a little bit for them to warm up. So, and then Roschon, I just don't think is going to get the touches, and same thing with Tyler Scott. So I think that's where it makes sense to be kind of those 2 key contributors.
I agree. I agree with that, because I think to go with this, you kind of have to be contributing the entire year. And I think Darnell Wright and Tyreek Stevenson are going to be doing that. Yeah, not like a Roschon. Tyler Scott, I don't think he's ready to. He's not going to get the play time. He's not going to really get the touches for that. But heck, I wanted to put Tyson Bagent on this so bad, Brad. But
add in Bagent. Add in Agent Bagent.
Add in Agent Bagent. But I was like,
oh yeah,
that might be a little.
I
don't
think
that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Justin Fields going down. Bears say throwing Bagent, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, if he did, wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would be a little scary because Justin Fields would be down. But let's go to our next award, which is the Brent Urban Award. Now, the Brent Urban Award goes to, for those that are new to the show, are probably like, why Brent Urban? Well, Brent Urban, for those that haven't been Bears fans for too long or just are very young, Brent Urban was this defensive lineman that always was this under-the-radar player. And every game, he would get like 1 or 2 splash plays when they needed it most and play the electric guitar anytime that he made this play. So it's really about going under the radar and just making big plays and just doing well and not really getting too much credit for it. So PayPal, who's your under the radar player? Or actually, you want to give me some of your nominations and then we could do
I'll do some nominations. I think this one was kind of tough because I had 3 in mind. My first one is DJ Khaled. Khaled.
Interesting.
Khaled Kareem. I like what I saw from, I watched some of his highlights and stuff. I like him a lot. And I think he's one of those guys that can just kind of, he's not going to play that many snaps, just like Brent Urban, but he's going to be in there. And when he does get his playing time, he'll make a play and he'll be like, oh man, that's awesome. But then, you'll just see him once and he'll just disappear, but he'll be like, oh, that's awesome. Like, you love when you see him out there. Honestly, second one. Now this one's kind of, we'll see how this goes. And honestly, this could be hot. This could be kind of a hot take, I guess, is Rasheem Green. I think that is some guy that this year, Brad, we could maybe like, hey, like, look at Rasheem Green. He made a play. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he could be that guy of like, he goes in, makes a play. Because, Brad, I don't know if you saw that Chicago Bears, they do that like 1920s, like, it's like a 20-minute video that they make.
I saw the gold
like the
brick.
Training camp and everything. Yeah, the gold brick was given to Rasheem Green, and it's like we wonder why the heck is he? Why is he on this team? So I really think he's going to be there and possibly get this award.
That's a very interesting player.
That's a nomination though. It's a nomination.
Nomination. A couple nominees that I have Sewell. I think that Sewell could potentially come in on a couple random downs and make a couple big plays where it's like, what is he doing out there? Oh, look at that. And another person too, Tyler Scott, I think could kind of fly under the radar, not a starting wide receiver, but just kind of separate and make some big plays. I think that could be one. And then the only other
Yeah.
one that I'm thinking, another nominee that I didn't go with is Roshan Johnson, potentially somebody
I like
that
that.
that can come in and you go, look at him making yardage, look at him blocking. But PayPal, who are actually, I'll read off some that we have out here: Pickens, Walker, Feeney for best mullet. We got Bojack, we got Ngakwe. So handful of things. We got Valus. Valus would be very interesting. I like Valus as a Brent Urban
do.
under the radar if he plays. But PayPal, who is your Brent Urban under the radar prediction?
I am gonna say I'm honestly in a toss up. I was originally gonna do Josh Blackwell because he just makes a play on special teams. He goes out there and he reminds me of, because DHC, DeAndre Houston
Good
Carson was
boy.
kind of
R.I.P.
he was kind of my Brent Urban kind of replacement of, he's out there and I'm like, heck yeah, like he's gonna make
Yeah.
a play no matter what. But I'm gonna have to go with Valus Jones. I think that's the guy that's gonna be under kind of the radar,
Ooh.
and if he catches a slant or he gets the ball, we're gonna see like why he's on this team. He's gonna make a play, and it's gonna be explosive. Like, he's a big body, and he's got speed, so it's like there's a reason why they're hanging on to this guy. Like, he can't catch a punt, but he has the explosiveness. He can run after the catch, so.
I like that.
He's my Brent Urban award.
I like that. And the spirit of this too is that, like, it's kind of like a backup that just does random things that you're just like, that's really good, right? My Brent Urban award prediction is Mercedes Lewis. Just like the most just random third string tight end that's going to probably make a couple big catches, but also the big blocking. I think it's not going to be as flashy as what Brent Urban did, where he would get a sack and play guitar. But I think that when you get like a skilled broadcaster, I think they're going to show, you can see this block right here by Mercedes Lewis opening it up for the touchdown. I think that's the spirit of Brent Urban, the backup that does this. And I think also helping out a Darnell Wright, I think he's going to do a lot of really key things that is just going to fly under the radar and going to be very underappreciated throughout the year. So
I like that a lot. Yeah, because he just does his job. He does, yeah.
Then he can go back to his grandkids and be like, you know what? You know what I did today? Grandpa's still playing football. But man, let's go over to our least favorite one to give out. Let's go over to the Cody Parkey Award. Now, the Cody Parkey Award is kind of self-explanatory, and for those that are watching, you can see the giant turd that is the award for the Cody Parkey Award, which is the most disappointing player for 2023. We have to give it out. If we have to give out who do we think is going to be most disappointing, who would that be? And I guess I'll start this out because the first thing that my mind went to was actually the rookies. Because we've talked about these rookies and we talk about high expectations. And I think in the spirit of disappointment, like the disappointment factor, if people have super high expectations and it fails to exceed that, then there's giant disappointment. And I know last year when we were doing this live, a lot of people said Kyler Gordon should be the award winner because of kind of like the high expectations and then flying below those and then basically being a disappointment. And I say this every single week. It's if people's expectations of Javon Dexter are too high, now especially since he's got 99, if the expectations are too high, just like his pad level, don't keep it too high. You got to get lower. You got to get lower, okay? And I think that's where if people are really expecting Javon Dexter to be this gigantic menace, lower your expectations, let the guy have some space so he can learn and develop. That was where my mind went first, with just not having too high of expectations of rookies, because rookies typically are, if they're a solid performer, that's a very good player.
Yeah. I like that explanation, because I think for me, like, first thing is like, oh, most disappointing. Like, I think of Valus Jones, but like, honestly, I just gave him that Brent Urban award, but like, I think we still kind of have in the back of our mind, like, okay, Velus Jones, he has been a disappointment already with the punt return. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's like our expectations in that sort of scheme isn't, too high. So I don't know if you want to kind of go like and not like if you have another nominee or anything, but Brad, but I got my guy if
I don't want to think about too much disappointment, but I'm curious what everyone else says
yeah.
out here too. Um, Five Guys.
Because there's honestly a lot of
Darnell Mooney,
some of these offensive
Patrick.
linemen, like with the injuries, I think I could kind of get you know, that could be disappointing with some of that.
It will be very interesting. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of anybody else. The other person that I thought of too is depending on where you sit on this, Chase Claypool was someone that could be someone that just overall you just kind of have disappointment with because at the very beginning of the preseason, it was expectations were low, then expectations just got higher. But PayPal, who do you have as your Cody Parkey award winner?
Yeah, I have I have Lucas Patrick, Brad.
Ooh,
I
that's
just
a good one.
I know he's gonna be probably the starting center against the Packers,
That's a good one.
and I think he's just gonna fall off.
Yeah,
I think it's just gonna be atrocious, and we're gonna be like, "Yep, he was very disappointing." And it's like, why did we? Why is Dieter Iceland not moved up yet? Why are these guys waiting in line behind this guy that cannot? He just has remnants of Sam Musifer. So I think that's my Cody Parkey award. Honestly, close second, like EQ kind of gives me that vibe of like not like he's gonna be disappointing because I'm already disappointed in him, but he's gonna drop a lot of passes, and I'm just gonna be like,
yeah.
every time we watch the game, I'm be like, why is he out there? You know what I mean? Like, why isn't our boy Fountain in there? Why is Simba Webster? Like, why isn't anyone else out there but EQ? So
I I
it's
could
like
see that.
yeah, Cody. I'm gonna do Lucas Patrick.
Lucas Patrick. I hate saying that's a good one because it's like you hope that we're all wrong and everyone just over exceeds expectations. But there's always one. And also, renewable, is that you as sports Chicago style? I
Yeah,
think so. I think
it's in
so. That might
disguise.
be. Let me know if it's not, because he does call us Stud Muffin B and J Money. So, but let's actually, I got to give mine. Mine is actually somebody that you talked about before, PayPal. I think, who are we most disappointed in right now? I think most might say Rasheem Green, because people are going, where did Terrell Lewis go? Where did Travis Gibson go? And if he
Yeah,
continues to play the way that he has, I think he could be the most disappointing and just have this string of disappointment that goes through. I was even thinking Dominique Robinson. Honestly, I just didn't want Dominique Robinson to be the guy, but it
hmm
could be Domrod because he hasn't done anything, like we said, and we expected a jump. I think it's going to be one of those defensive ends because we are going to be spiteful Bears fans at the end of the season and go, we could have had these other people, and we're just going to add that extra spite into it, I feel. So,
yeah. I was thinking the same thing, and it's hard because it's like I don't want to be so negative, but I Broski Bear, that's so funny. That's where EQ honestly is a close second, I think, for me for that Cody Parkey award because he's a good blocker, and it's
you
like it's
can
like
block everybody.
it's like it's yeah, he can't catch,
And
so it's like why
actually,
do we have him?
I Broski reminded me of this. There was a disappointment person that I thought of as well, and that's DeMarcus Walker. And he said Walker and Mooney are the disappointments for him, or potential disappointments for him. Walker was one of my candidates because of the fact of him coming off of, because expectations are super high because he's a very vocal person and a fun guy to get behind because
Yeah,
he's so just like energized. He's coming off of a career year where his best production was done at the interior, right? Every stat, every like expectation will say he will regress back to the mean. and perform decently or like okay.
Yeah.
So I think that is also a very good call, a very good candidate of someone being out there and being a disappointment. But PayPal, that's enough disappointment. That's enough disappointment. We had to throw disappointments there because the season will not be disappointing. Let's flip over to, do we just call this the the Justin Fields Award, the offensive MVP? Who is going to be the offensive MVP for the Chicago Bears this season? PayPal, do you, we don't even have to go through the candidates. Who is your offensive MVP?
Yeah, close second, Kari Blasingame. Not actually, but honorable mention DJ Moore. I was like, he could be some of that. Like we watch, you're like, heck, he looks freaking amazing. You know what I mean? But we obviously have to give this to Justin Fields. He's the leader of the offense. He's the leader of the team. We're gonna just ride. He's a ride or die quarterback right now. So I really think he's gonna take that next step. And we'll see him he was the only reason why I think that we stayed in a lot of those games last year. If we didn't have his athleticism, if we did not have his talent at quarterback, I don't think we would have been even close of staying in any of those games last year. So
Yeah.
he's easily my offensive MVP this year of taking that next step.
Also, real quick, there was a interesting disappointment. We'll add one more disappointing thing, I guess, too. I like T-Dub saying Allen Williams and Getsy. Like, could that be potential for disappointment as well? But yeah, I like what you said there. But I'm actually gonna MVP, right? I know that wins above replacement. Everything points to the quarterback. But I think when we're talking about value, I'm actually going DJ Moore.
Yeah.
As crazy and as insane as it sounds, I am going DJ Moore because I want DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is going to get Justin Fields to love again. He's going to love his teammates. He's going to rely on his teammates more because last year, Justin Fields did not rely on any of his teammates. And so I'm hoping that he relies more on DJ Moore. And I think hopefully at the end of the season, we're talking about, hey, he's throwing to his receivers now. He's throwing to DJ Moore. He's making a play, and he's taking the coverage away from other receivers. So I am actually going to go DJ Moore. Maybe we should change this to Offensive Player of the Year, maybe instead, just overall, because value can be a little bit triggery. But I do think it'll be interesting because I think it's just going to be that 2-horse race overall. But PayPal, let's flip over to the defensive side, shall we?
Let's do it.
This one, a little bit more interesting. I think that there's a handful of different players. Let me know actually, I think ultimately it comes down to a couple because I'll just kind of go through my thought process. I felt like it couldn't be someone in the secondary because when I was looking at the secondary, I thought it was difficult to kind of like crown a corner or crown a safety over another one.
Wow.
And linebacker, it's like Tremaine Edmonds, the man in the middle, and defensive line, there's Yannick Ngakoue. So to me, it was just a 2-horse race. But it sounds like for you, it wasn't.
Yeah, I was thinking, obviously, I think Tremaine Edmonds and Yannick, but I was thinking even like, I really have confidence in Jaquan Brisker and Eddie Jackson. So,
okay.
I really like both of those guys. And my thought, I think those guys can kind of take over the team. Like we saw it last year, they were kind of the only bright spot of the team. And heck, they were getting more sacks than everyone else on our team. So, like Eddie Jackson, he's been kind of on that hot streak of looking back like he's, that rookie, that sophomore Eddie Jackson that we had on the 2018, Bears, where he was just flying around having fun.
Oh, so is he your defensive MVP or what do you have for it now?
Yeah, I have Eddie Jackson. I think that's it might be kind of crazy talk, but I think he's going to lead that secondary, that kind of young group back there and create that 4 or 5 turnover seasons that he needs to have. And just kind of show him. And it's one of those things, I think this is where it becomes the most valuable player. Like I really think he just encases that. Like he brings all that intensity. He really embodies the hits principle. And that's like Eberflus seems like that's Eberflus's guy, at least in my eyes, is Eddie Jackson. Like that's the guy that he kind of talks defense with and, really gets in his mind. So Eddie Jackson's my guy. Might be kind of crazy talk if I'm not, taking those two expensive guys we just signed. But I think Eddie Jackson, I just love him. And I really think he just brings so much value to everyone in the locker room.
Okay, so you kind of threw me for a loop there because I was purposely going to choose a player that you weren't going to. I felt like you weren't going to pick because I think Edmonds is because, like I said, it's Edmonds or Unique. So, or I like Yannick. I like saying Yannick. I know it's unique, but it's like Yannick just rolls off the tongue a lot better. But with Ngakoue, you know what? I'm going to go Yannick. I'm going to go Ngakoue. I'm going to stick with my guns. And the reason is because if he has a good year and gets 10 plus sacks, I think the value of what he will bring to the pass rush that's non-existent for the Bears. That's actually why he was like my original, is because I think Edmonds will be good. I think he'll play solid. I think he'll play good. But if we don't have a pass rush, in order for Eddie Jackson to get picks and our young secondary to be successful, we need to rush the passer and we need to get in the quarterback's face. It's a big gamble because Ngakoue could not do well, right? This could just be egg on the face. If Ngakoue plays well, gets 10 plus sacks, he's the defensive MVP to me because pass rush is so valuable. We did not have that last season. If he can do that, this defense looks a lot better. This defense can play faster. This defense can play better. I think that he is a huge cog in this scheme. And also when I think of linebackers, we have a very deep linebacker room. So I think the value of a Edmonds, it's still good. I think he'll be good. But I just think that the pass rush from Ngakoue is big. So we both did choose, I think, like the simple one. Broski saying 14 sack season for Ngakoue. Love to see it, but the defensive side will be interesting for sure. But PayPal, let's flip over to our favorite award. This is the last award, and then we'll call it a day. The favorite player of the show. So for those that are following along and predicting what we're going to pick, this doesn't have to be the favorite player of the Unbearable Sports Podcast. This could be your favorite player. And the whole purpose of this award, and also I realized I still haven't updated the description of this. It's not the under the radar player. It is, I need to change that, but it is the player that is the favorite player, your favorite player that you cheer extra loud for when they make a play, extra loud whenever they do something that you just get off and you freaking love it. Who is that player that gets you hyped? PayPal, what were you feeling when going through this award?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys on this team, and I think especially in the secondary, Eddie Jackson, Jaquan Brisker, a lot of the secondary guys I absolutely love on this team. I think Jack Sanborn, he's always been kind of a favorite on this show. I always is kind of like Kyrie Blasingame is always that guy. Like
You
I
do love him.
Like I think anyone, like, it's just awesome when the fullback gets a pass or gets a run. You know what I mean? It's awesome when you get a fullback involved in the game. I just love it. Like he doesn't have to get a pass caught if he's just out there blocking. I'm always pointing him out. But yeah, there's just like some other guys like that. Tyree Carter's been kind of a warm guy in my heart this year.
But would you put an offensive lineman as it?
No, that would be crazy talk, Brad.
Look at that block.
And this one is really close, dude, because I love Kyler Gordon and how he's improved this year and everything. But I gotta go the D2 superstar, Brad. I gotta go Tyson Bagent, sorry. I gotta go Tyson Bagent. Like, he is my favorite player if he ever goes out there, because, hope it doesn't happen, but, Fields gets hurt, or heck, we're beating a team by 40 points and Bagent just comes in and, leads the team to victory. He's my number one guy. I love if he does get playing time, I'm be rooting for him. You love the story. You just love like his confidence whenever he's up in the booth.
Okay.
I I think he's great. He's
Do you
so
have
fun.
someone that would actually play?
Tyson Bagent? We'll see. Yeah.
Agent? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I was thinking about this, right? And I was trying to think of the people that we have had as the favorite player of the show in shows past, right? And some of the favorite ones, Jack Sanborn. Another one was Thomas Graham Jr. was one of our favorites, just where, you just go that extra mile of celebrating a little bit more whenever they're out there, whenever they make a play. And I see Bagent because in preseason, when he did anything, I'm pretty sure all Bears fans, like, you just go extra crazy for Tyson Bagent, right? So it's about going that extra craziness, going that extra mile. And I was thinking about the preseason games and the person that anytime he did something, I jumped out of my seat. I did a little flex because the dude is just too strong. And to me, it's a no-brainer. Roschon Johnson.
Yeah.
To me, is like, when I think about the person, what this award embodies, with it being we like backups. We like the person that is trying to fight for a position, fight for their roster, fight for the starting spot. And every time Roschon touches the ball, I get extra hype. My number 2, though, it's chalk. Like, it's very simple, but it's Justin Fields, right? Like, Justin Fields is so electric, so exciting to watch. It's so easy to just root for him like that. But Roschon, to me, is like that extra boost, right? Anytime that he does something, you just get extra excited, extra pumped. When he's pass blocking out there, I'm going to be like, did you see that block? Did you see that block? Herbert could never do that.
Yeah.
And he's from UT. And we were both born in Texas, born in Austin, the heart of Texas. So I think for us, that's some big ones. So, yeah, also we got some Tevin Jenkins. We got some Briskers out there. We got some Justin Fields. We got some Tyler Scott, DJ Moores. Yeah, we got a lot of really good stuff out there. But yeah, I think favorite player of the show, like this is always my favorite because we always like the backups. We always like the fun players like that. But there's a handful of good ones. I'm trying to think of
like
defense.
even Dan Feeney, like, he'd be a fun favorite player just because of his looks. I feel like that's defense. I like, honestly, defense for me, I love a lot of our players
Stevenson
on defense,
would be
like Kyler
interesting.
Gordon, Stevenson. I think Brisker is a really good one. That
Brisker's
seems
a
to be
very good one.
a popular one in the chat. Like, I think Brisker, he just has that. He's just so electric, and he has that like fire, and I think that's where it's like, if you see him make a play, you're just like, oh my gosh. Like, I remember that interception last year. That was insane, and that was like really what made his mark on the team last year, was getting kicked in the hoo-has last year from Mac Jones and then getting that incredibly acrobatic catch.
I think about, too, even the rookie D tackles. I think Dexter makes huge plays. It's the pop, right? Like, when they just do that extra pop, any play they make, just exciting. But Ngakwe's the last one that I'll bring up, just because he's gone through so much in his life. I hope he finds a home here, and I hope that he's able to. I hope everything that they're saying is true. I hope that he is able to play the run. I hope he is able to get a bunch of sacks. I hope he's able to find a home, and I think that will just make it extra special. So yeah. I hope Yannick does well. That's another good candidate. But PayPal, we will be live again tomorrow. We're going back-to-back doubleheader after this. So I guess doubleheaders aren't right after they're right after each other, not 2 days, but still. This isn't a baseball show. We'll be going down and breaking down the Green Bay Packers for Sunday. So make sure to stay tuned. Make sure to like and subscribe out there on YouTube. Also, rate the show 5 stars, especially on Apple Podcasts, because you can enter to get a Darnell Wright jersey Link down in the description if you are watching or listening to on a different app overall. But we will be live 7:30 tomorrow to break down the Green Bay Packers. Bear down, and see you guys next time.